What up? So first UFC Fight Night card predictions of the year. Not gonna lie, this main event, it's a bit mid. Now, it's not because it's women's MMA. I'm not one of those misogynistic MMA fans who cries every time women are fighting on the card. I enjoy women's MMA. I just don't enjoy a Mackenzie Dern fight all that much. Oh man. And this is a rematch too. And go back and I went back and watched the first fight. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know what changes in the rematch, but we'll get into that, a little bit later. So we're only going over the main card because I'm on the come up right now. You probably don't want to hear me yap that long, so let's do it. All right, so Soriano versus Uros Medic. Here's how I see this fight personally. Soriano is coming down to welterweight. He did come down to welterweight, but I know he used to fight at middleweight. And super powerful, decent wrestler, decent grappling. But bro, I want y'all to look at this real quick because I don't think y'all even gonna believe me if I say this. I want y'all to look at this real quick. Guys, look at this. Everybody, I want y'all to take a look real quick. Let me move my mic over too so y'all can really, really hear me when I say this. This dude lost to Dustin Stolfus. Dustin Stolfus, bro. That ain't it, bro. I'm sorry. Dustin Stolfus is a loss. That ain't go cut it. If you look at Uros Medic, people forget, man. This dude was a legit prospect coming out of the Contender Series. Very, very dynamic striker. He's got really decent power. Not decent, got really good power and really solid kicks. But if we're looking at his record, if it'll scroll, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. I'm getting stage fright right now. Yeah, there's only 2 losses to Orlabai, who again looks like a future champion maybe, and Jalen Turner, who on paper, like Anthony Smith would say, best fighter in the UFC. But this dude's striking is pretty good. I'd say he's a pretty good striker. I think Soriano's really only path to victory is he has to ride this one out and try to make it a boring decision, but I don't see him having it in his bag. So give me Uros Medic by a second round knockout. Soriano can be pretty wild on the feet. Can, be out here going, I got Medic being just the more cleaner striker, more dynamic, and just, again, has looked better against higher level competition. Losing to Stolfus, that ain't it, bro. All right, C-Rod versus Bashi. I feel like I have deja vu when I see this fight. Because I feel like C-Rod has really fought the same archetype of fighter. He's fighting the hyped up prospect, and we're getting it again. Fought Raul Rosas Jr. I was actually there live for that fight. Beat him. Met C-Rod. Was like the day or two before the fight. I asked him for an interview. He said no, but still cool guy though. I'll rock with you, C-Rod. But I actually picked C-Rod to win the fight too, and I was right, but I didn't have a platform, so nobody cares all about that. But with Bashi though, Bashi looks better in terms of where he's at his career than the last 2 prospects he beat. He looks like he's got really, really good cardio, strong wrestler, and he's a wrestler with a submission threat. Oh my gosh. Guys, in 2025, we might finally get consistently wrestling prospects who can submit people. Guys, dude, it's literally like finding a needle in a haystack sometimes. But here's the thing. This fight looks like, I feel like C-Rod's going to win though. Okay, Bashi looks really good. Don't get me wrong. But this just seems like the type of fight C-Rod wins. Like, he goes against the hyped up prospect. Now, will Bashi gas out like Raul and I think the dude was Armenian, the light-skinned dude. I really cannot remember his name for the life of me for some reason. Everybody said that was a robbery, but to be honest, I think C-Rod won on damage. But, I think I got C-Rod winning this by decision, bro. I think C-Rod is probably going to be dicey for him first round. It's going to be ugly. But I think round 2 and 3, C-Rod just finds a way to win against these guys. I can't even get into the X's and O's as to why. It's because C-Rod's pretty well-rounded. But the only thing that is going against him is he is super undersized for 145. But I have faith he takes on another prospect. All right. Here's my main event. Here's the people's main event. Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov, a.k.a. Russian Chase Hooper. And we got second form, Curtis Blades. All right. Here we go. Here's the thing. Chris Curtis, to me, is one of the best boxers in the UFC, by far. I think he's got better boxing than Sean Strickland. Like, Chris Curtis really be out here like, in the pocket and just be ripping. While Sean Strickland be out here like, Like, this dude actually uses a legit Philly shell. The only problem with Chris Curtis is this. I love Chris Curtis. I love watching him fight every single time. When the Chris Curtis fight is on, I'm there for it. I'll miss my firstborn's birth to watch Chris Curtis fight. But with that being said, this dude does not pick up his feet. He's genuinely the most flat-footed fighter I think I have ever seen in my life. And I get it, because stylistically, being a little bit more grounded and being a little more flat-footed, he can really rip those shots and he can generate a lot more power. But bro, I am nervous for him this fight because Roman Kopylov seems like the type of style that would give him problems. Because, I mean, Chris Curtis did have problems with Nasruddin Imavov and Jack Hermanson. Guys who can kind of stick out at range, throw them kicks, and be in and out of range. That seems like a recipe to beat Chris Curtis. However, I have faith that Chris Curtis, with this injury, when he pulled his hamstring against Brendan Allen, a fight he really should have won, I have faith that he's evolved his game a little bit, and that hopefully, if Chris Curtis just picks up his feet and just stop plotting, he will win this fight. Because in the pocket, I think barely anybody beats him in the pocket or in punching range. But Roman Kopylov, let's talk about him real quick, though. Dude is legit striker. Often when you hear rushers thinking, oh, wrestler, grappler, he's got a decent wrestling bag, but he's a striker by trade, and he's super dynamic, all-around great kickboxer. But, man, I just feel like Chris Curtis, if he can keep this in the pocket, and I have faith that Chris Curtis will pick up his feet and actually cut off on angles instead of just walking at someone, and when they don't engage with him, he going like, I have faith in Chris Curtis. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that way, but give me Chris Curtis by a 3rd round KO. I wish this fight was 5 rounds. I really wish it was, but I have faith in Chris Curtis, but I could be wrong though. All right, Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. All right, this fight seems simple to pick because Cesar Almeida does everything better on the feet than Abdul. Like, legitimately, cleaner kicks, cleaner punches, cleaner defense. He's just a better striker. And this is a striker versus striker type of match. However, Abdul does have the judo in his back pocket. He can clinch up. He can set up some trips. However, Cesar Almeida already done seen that. He already done seen this, bro. It comes down to if Abdul has the nuclear option. Dude is one of the most powerful punchers on this planet. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Cesar Almeida is just way too clean. Give me Cesar Almeida by a 2nd late round KO. Abdul could win because he is so powerful. I just don't see it though. I mean, Buckley, again, who I'm very high on Joaquin Buckley, but Joaquin Buckley is not as clean of a striker as Cesar Almeida. And Buckley outstruck him, and even, I know there's a little bit of grappling exchanges if I remember correctly in that fight that took place, but beating Abdul by decision with Joaquin makes me believe that Cesar Almeida, minus any shenanigans, because I know Almeida's last fight had some shenanigans with it, I think Cesar Almeida gets it done. All right, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris, I didn't realize he was like 37. I thought he was way younger for some reason. But here's the thing about Carlston Harris. I'm still very high on Carlston Harris. I know he just got knocked out by Chaos Williams. Looked pretty scary. But his only other loss is to Shavkat Rakhmonov. Carlston Harris is a legit fighter. He's super well-rounded. Like, I mean, like, in the sense that he does everything pretty good. Especially with the grappling, and his boxing is not fundamentally the best, but he is a good striker. He's an above-average striker. I won't say good, he's above average. Santiago Ponzinibbio. And this fight happened like 2019 and back. Oh, I'd pick Santiago Ponzinibbio any day. But man, he's looking rough, bro. Ponzinibbio just looks slower. Just looks like he doesn't react to punches the best. And it's so unfortunate the health issues he had to deal with because he legitimately could have been a champion if those things didn't happen to him. But to be honest, I think Carlston Harris wins this one. I know Ponzinibbio, he's got the power. He's super, super tricky, and he's not really as dynamic anymore, though. He's just not. Because Ponzinibbio's way a lot of the time lately is dragging guys into wars, and I think Carlston Harris just mixes it up really well, especially he's going to probably fight a little bit safer coming off of that scary knockout of Chaos Williams, and I think Carlston Harris gets this by, I say like a unanimous decision. could finish Ponzinibbio, but I feel like Ponzinibbio won't get finished by Carlston. But Carlston, I think he's just more well-rounded enough to win this fight on the scorecards. All right, the main event, which not really all that excited for. And again, I promise to you, it has nothing to do with misogyny. I love women's MMA. I just don't love Mackenzie Dern type beat women's MMA. Because here's the thing about Mackenzie Dern, bro. I want to stress to y'all something. Mackenzie Dern is generally one of the most talented grapplers to ever fight in MMA. Period. Some of the best jiu-jitsu we've ever seen in MMA. But bro, she's got Brian Ortega syndrome. And Brian Ortega literally started beating his own syndrome. Jiu-jitsu athlete with barely any takedowns. And she just keeps insisting on striking. It frustrates me because Mackenzie Dern could legitimately be so good, but she's so inconsistent. One fight, sometimes with the striking, she actually does look decent. She's out here like, boom, boom, you know, like really like showing off the striking. And then next fight, she's out here like this. But here's the thing. If Mackenzie Dern has a wrestling bag, she will win this fight. If she can take down Amanda Ribas, she'll win this fight. But here's the problem. When they first fought, which was back in 2019, so it has been years ago, stuff can change. She couldn't land one takedown on her. Every time she got her down to the mat, she either got swept or reversed. There was one time she literally tried to do a headed arm throw, and Ribas reversed it and headed arm throwed her. Ribas having a black belt in judo, I believe, as well. Ribas, there was a lot of hype with her back in the day. I feel like people are kind of like meh with her now. But I just feel like, honestly, Ribas is just more clean than Dern. And if Dern can't take her down, and Ribas has good jiu-jitsu in her own right as well, it's just going to be another kind of like decent stand-up fight that doesn't need to go 5 rounds, you know? I got Amanda Ribas beating Dern, but it's basically based on the fact, if Mackenzie Dern does what Brian Ortega did in the Yair Rodriguez fight, and actually develop some takedowns, she'll win the fight. But I highly doubt it, because her evolution throughout her time in the UFC has just been very, you know, I'm just not really super high on either one of them nowadays. But Amanda Ribas, I still have a little bit of faith in her. I think she is very talented, but give me Ribas to win this one by like a unanimous decision or maybe a split. But I'm not really super keen on this main event. But to me, though, if there's 2 fights you should tune in for, gonna watch the main card. Chris Curtis, Roman Kopylov. This should be the main event. It really should be. And Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Halasan. Someone's getting knocked out in that fight. And if I want to go to the prelims real quick, just to really touch on it, there's one other fight that I feel like you should probably take a look at if I'm really looking at these guys real quick. Jacoby Smith. This dude is legit. Man, this dude's a legit wrestler. Came out of Oklahoma State. This guy might be the next DC, but at welterweight. It's a -550 favorite, so please don't sell. And with that, I appreciate y'all watching, and we out.